What's up, Raider Nation? This is Black Widow from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you are watching the Raider Homer Superfan Show. Go Raiders!
Raider Homer, this is Monster Mash Ken. I just wanted to say you're doing a great job, man. It was a pleasure meeting you down at the draft. Keep putting out the good work, man. We need more of you guys around to represent the Raider Nation right, and look forward to meeting you at a game next season, or this season. And yeah, brother, take care. Peace out. Raider Nation for life.
Hey, what's up? This is Raider Ty Brown, and you're listening to Raider Homer podcast radio show. What's up, Raider Homer? Raider Nation repping good.
Hello, Raider Nation. I'm Raider Homer, and welcome back to the Raider Homer Superfan Show. In this episode, I have Oaktown legend, Mob Boss. Kevin is a true diehard fan and lives for the Raiders and the Raider Nation. He's a true example of how to rep the Raiders with pride and poise and a commitment to excellence. Through KOS 209 and his Mob Boss persona, he inspires countless Raider fans across the nation. As you're about to hear, there's a lot of love in this nation, and it's important that we all carry on this torch into the future, lighting the way for the future members of the Raider Nation. The Raider Nation is more than just a fan base, it's a family because of people like Kevin. The bonds formed in this family are strong and last a lifetime. So rep the silver and black well, Raider Nation, and never forget those that paved the way for the rest of us. Thanks for watching, Raider Nation. I'll see you in the next episode. The Superfan Show is a platform for club presidents, superfans, YouTubers, and even podcasters to come on and talk about their journey as a Raider fan and share their story with everybody. So you cover two bases of that. You're the club president and you're the superfan. So let's go ahead and get into KOS 209. When did KOS 209 start, and how did you become the vice president?
Okay, Albert DeLuna out of Fresno is the founder of KOS. He's the originator, him and a few others, Manuel and Ruben Fuentes. Those were the original founders of KOS. The Merced chapter as well as the Madera chapter. There's chapters all over. Oakland chapter, Tamika 510 out there. Jalita has the chapter out in San Jose 408. Big Tone is the president of the Madera chapter 559. There's a Fresno chapter. So there's a lot of KOS all the way out to Washington as far as chapters go. But our chapter in Merced, we're now 2 years in. We're 2 years in to that chapter. We're basically an offspring of the original 209, which was in Modesto. And due to some circumstances, it kind of disbanded itself. And there were still people in the 209 that said, well, hey, man, what do we do without the Modesto chapter? And Pete stepped up. He said, well, if there's not going to be a Modesto chapter, I still want to be KOS. I still want to do the public service and community service items. And I still want to do the things we do with the Raiders. And I'm not going to stop. So I'm going to start my own chapter. And I said, okay, that sounds good because I'm in the same position. I don't want to just be left, kind of high and dry. I joined this club to be a part of the community and show my passion for the Raiders. I don't want to quit. So he was like, yeah. So he says, well, look, man, if you want to be on board, I would love to have you as my vice president. And I said, well, I don't know if I could do that because super fan thing, or I hate that word, but with that going on, man, I don't know if I have the time to dedicate to it. And he says, look, I need you. I want you to help me. And I said, well, as much as I've respected him over the years, I said, man, I can't turn my back on him. If he asked me to help him and be his vice president, that's what I'm going to do. And that we just started from there, man. We just started from there, and we built this club to well over about, our chapter is well over 65 members or so, 65, almost 70 members. And we've just been building and building over the last couple of years. We've taken that club to Miami, Arizona, New Orleans. We've been to a lot of different places, traveling, watching the Raiders. not only doing the Raider kind of things. I don't know if you've ever get out to Oakland. If you get out to Oakland, get the D-Lot, man. Get the D-Lot, go to D-Lot Row 1 and come tailgate with KOS. You know, it's nothing like it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like tailgating with us, right? But even outside of all the Raider stuff, the biggest joy that I have with the club is what we do in our community, man. We've been about every 2 months or so, we feed the homeless in several different parks across the 209 area, Modesto, Turlock. We've been in Merced. We have literally went into homeless encampments down under bridges and things like that to make sure that these people get a hot meal at least, you know, that day. You know what I mean? And it all comes out of our hearts, and you know, and we don't ask the city for anything to help us do it. We just pull it together and we make it happen. I've been able to, through the club, I've been able to have children reach out to me and say, hey, you know, you're an inspiration. I see what you do. I'm sick. Can you come by and, you know, just give me a hug or something like that? And that's how I got involved with the young lady down in Fresno, Violet. It was through the club. You know, she was like, that guy I see, you know, on TV sometimes, and this guy, he's a part of that club, and she was fighting cancer at the time, and she's in remission now, but at the time she was very, very sick. And her mother reached out to me, and she was like, hey, you know, I know we're club members, and I know you're busy, but my daughter really likes you. Can you come to the hospital and visit with her? And I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. We're going to make that happen. And ever since that moment, man, it was like, this whole thing is bigger than the Raiders. It's bigger than, man, touching the community, touching kids, getting involved. Man, it is so much bigger than the Raiders, and you get so much pleasure and so much joy out of seeing smiles on people's face when all they want to do is spend 1 second with you, or, you know, and say hello to you because of whatever, you know. And they tell you how much they love the Raiders, and maybe they love the Raiders because of how much you love the Raiders. So it's been an amazing journey with KOS, man. It's opened me up to a whole lot of things. I just can't say enough about my club, man. They're the best.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. That's a great thing about the Raider Nation, is that we're always giving back. You know, it goes all the way back to Al Davis being so giving to his players, and, you know, even Alzado being so, you know, donating his time to charity, and Marshawn Lynch, you know, the same thing.
Right.
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome that y'all do that. You know, we have some events that we do too in Austin with the Silver and Black of Central Texas, you know. So I always like hearing about that, man. That is really awesome.
Yeah, you gotta take these platforms that you've been blessed with and make a difference. And that's what KOS is all about, man, is making a difference. And so, like I said, big shout out to KOS, all of you chapters that are out there, and keep doing the good work you're doing. You know, 209 is always supportive of any chapter, of anything they want to do. We're there. You know, all we are is a phone call away, and we're coming. So, yeah, and that's for any club. That's for any club out there. If there's something that KOS can help you with, or, you know, help you do in the community or anything, man, reach out to us. We're here.
I definitely will remember that, man. I definitely will remember that. Now, you are for sure a die-hard fan, right? Okay, you don't like the super word tag. I get that a lot, but to the outside fan base, I guess, from the super fan base, you know, y'all are super fans, but you are definitely a die-hard fan. So let's find out, you know, how you became a Raider fan.
Oh my goodness! Well, it's real simple for me. I was born into this situation. You know what I mean? I didn't really have a choice because my dad and my uncle were all diehard Raider fans. I have an uncle right now who still owns his season tickets, and he sits on the other side of the stadium from me, and he lives in Mississippi most of the year, and he comes home for the Raider season every year, and so that's the only time I get to see him is during the Raider season. But that's how long it goes back, man. Here I am, 47 years old, and I can just remember back when my uncles and my dad was deceased now, would take me out there to the Coliseum, and and I just remember all of these old memories and things like that. And I even tell people, at one time, I felt like my parents were going to get a divorce because the Raiders had moved to L.A., and my dad snatched me and my sister out of school and drove us to L.A. to see a Raiders game. And my mom didn't know what was going on, and come to find out later on, because, back in those days there wasn't cell phones and things like that, right? So we get back in town, and my mom is just furious, man. Where were you at with these kids? And my dad was like, I'm not missing a Raider game. So, it's just in the blood like that. And that's where the creation of the Mob Boss comes from. Because basically, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been traveling to games and going to events and all of this kind of stuff, and loving the Raiders and meeting players, going to training camp and all this stuff. I've been doing that my whole life through my dad. But when my dad passed away, it was like, wow, I have to continue what he started. And so I've done that with my own family, with my kids. They've all been out, they're all Raider fans. They're all stuck on, they're just like I am. And now we're into the next generation. I got bringing my grandkids out there and that kind of thing. But when my dad passed away, I said, man, he loved the Raiders probably more than anybody I know. So how do I, honor my dad? You know what I mean? And make his stamp on the Raiders be permanent. And my wife at the time, she said, well, he's the boss. And so I was like, yeah. And she goes, well, your mom calls you the boss now because your dad's gone. And I was like, yeah. And she says, well, be the boss. And I was like, okay, but how do you be the boss? What is that, right? Yeah. So it started out with just, with the idea of the name came first, in tribute to my dad. And then my wife says, well, and I said, well, as I try to put this thing together, I don't want to look like all the different folks that are already out there. I don't want to look the same with the spikes or whatever it is. And I said, I don't want to do that. And she goes, you always look good to me when you dress in a suit. And I said, oh, a suit? And she goes, yeah. So let's maybe try to find you a Raiders suit, because I like you when you have a shirt and tie on and a jacket. And I was like, okay, babe, I like that. And so my wife, who is Black Ice, she came up with the whole concept of the suit and all of that kind of stuff, and it just went from there. So it comes out of a tribute to my dad, but the whole concept and idea, design, I have to give credit to Black Ice. She's a brilliant lady, beautiful woman, and that's my sidekick, not only in this Raider thing, but in life. She's got my back 100%. So yeah, but that's where the idea of the concept and all that came from. Like I said, the name and so on and so forth is tribute to my dad. But the get up, the suit that you see, that's all idea of Black Ice.
Well, congratulations, on marrying such a great Raiderette, man. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Amazing Raiderette. She's an amazing Raiderette. I wouldn't trade her in for nothing, even though
a Super Bowl win.
Yes, man. That's about as good as it's having to have a Raiderette like that. Feels like a Super Bowl win.
All right, cool. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, dude. I mean, have you listened to the show before?
I have. Well,
yeah, because I don't even have to ask questions, man. You know how this goes.
Yeah, I've got a chance to listen to a lot of them, and really, and I appreciate you reaching out to so many of folks to try to get our perspectives on what we think about the nation and what we think about the Raiders and so on and so forth. Because you've talked to some great people, man. You've talked to Captain Jack, and I've known him for years, and I've bumped into him all over, whether we were in Florida. And matter of fact, I think I've seen him, here in Oakland several times, but I can't remember how many different cities I bumped into Captain, and you know, we've had conversations, and then, you know, Jersey, man, my homegirl Jersey, I know you got a chance to talk with her, and, you know, me and her go back for years, and we got such a good relationship, and, you know, she's just a genuine young lady, and she really, really bleeds this silver and black like you wouldn't believe, man. She's hardcore about these Raiders, man, and I really love her spirit, and then, of course, you know, my boy Joker, man, I can't say enough about that dude, man. We bumped into each other a few years back, and it was weird. We have been kind of following each other on social media, and we would talk, you know, here and there, and we built a real genuine relationship before we even seen each other face to face. And it was just kind of weird. The day I actually got to see him, he was here in Oakland, and we kept texting each other, and, hey, man, I'm coming. I'm going to be there, so don't worry. And we finally got to see each other face to face, and it was like we had known each other for years, man. It wasn't like a first meeting, you know, and the connection with me and that dude has been so genuine, and we have talked several times over the years, and, you know, about everything, not just about the Raiders, but about life. And he's just a genuine dude, man. And so for you to be able to have some of these great personalities on your show, talk to them, man, it's a blessing, bro. It's a blessing. And I wish everybody would get a chance to talk to these people, man, because they really, really love the Raiders. You know, Wayne is, man, he's so full of advice and how to do this thing and how to, you know, kind of stay away from the BS, because there's some BS that comes with it sometimes. And he's just so humble and so genuine and so open to give you advice. And I told him a story, and I thought I was kind of shocking or something. You know what I mean? And he blew me away, because him and he has a brother named Lee that comes out to the games every so often. And so I was talking to his brother Lee, and his brother said, hey, man, you know, you're one of those super fans. And I told him, I said, hey, I don't like that word super fan. I'm just a fan, you know. And he said, well, what I'm saying is I've seen a lot of them over the years watching my brother, but you're one of these guys that just stands out to me, man. And I just wanted to get to know you. And I said, well, to be honest, I met you 2 nights ago. And he said, you met me 2 nights ago? I said, yeah, but I wasn't wearing a costume. And I took my mask off, and he said, oh, my God, you were the brother that we were sitting there having a conversation. Man. And I said, yeah. And so he was so amazed that the character that he met and that he was impressed with in character, he was like, wow, not only is he a decent person or whatever, or, you know, whatever he thought about me as a character, but then to know, well, damn, I met this guy without even knowing that he was this guy, and he was so genuine. So me and his brother started having all these conversations all the time, right? And I said, yeah, I see Wayne all the time, and, you know, we talk and this and that, and he's always giving me advice. And he said, well, tomorrow, since we tailgate in the same area, you know, I'll see you tomorrow. So we get out there, and we're sitting there having a conversation right before they let us in the gate. And I told Wayne, I said, hey, Violator, man, check this out, man. I've been wanting to tell you this for years. I said, I think the first time I met you, I was about, I don't know, maybe about 12, 13, 14 years old or something like that. And I was with my dad, and I was so impressed with you and this and that and blase. And I explained to him and the whole nine. And he was like, you know what? I remember that.
That's
and
cool.
It blew me away. He says, I try to remember as many people as I come in contact with, because it's a blessing to come in contact with people. And I was like, wow, you remember that moment? Of all the moments that he's been through, he could remember, you know, he just recollect as I told the story. He says, you know what, young man, I remember that. And to watch you now and see what you're doing now, just enjoy he always says, enjoy the journey. Right? And he says, just enjoy this journey, man, and take advantage of your platform and do right by your platform.
Right.
And I was like, I said, well, if the best that's ever done it is going to give me that kind of advice, that's what I'm going to stick to. you know, and that's what I try to do. I try to touch as many people as I can touch, try to share my passion, and hopefully that passion will rub off on somebody else and they'll be just as passionate. And it's all because of people like Violator, you know, Wayne and Mark. Mark, same way. Really is the same way. He's just open. He's just open to kind of do what's right and what's wrong, and don't fall into this, don't fall into that. And the biggest thing, stay positive. Stay positive and share the love. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're doing it that way, the world is open to you as far as your platform goes. If you're doing it for the wrong reason, you know, for popularity or money gain or something like that, if that's the reason why you're doing it, I mean, to each his own, man. But if that's the reason why, I don't. If you're not doing it because you're passionate about the fans and you're passionate about this team, don't do it. Yeah. Just don't. Because it's more to it than just, you know, putting on a costume on Sunday. You know, it's way, way more to it. My wife, she's been doing this thing with me for a while, but she just notices, like, come Saturday night before game day or Friday when I get off work and I get home, I almost changed into a whole different person, you know, because I know what's coming and I know what you know, and I start getting that Raider vibe and that feel, and I start, man, it's almost
getting that
like
Raider frame of mind.
Yeah, man, it's a total transformation into something different because I'm that passionate about it. So whether I get 2 people to like a Facebook post, a Instagram post, I don't care. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm not doing it for attention. I'm not doing it for you know, likes and all this other stuff. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about the Raiders. I'm passionate about the Raider Nation and its fans. And if people are on board with that and want to share that fire and keep it burning, then more so to it. But, you know, so that's the way I'm always do this thing. I'm going to take the advice of Rilla. I'm going to take the advice of Wayne. And I'm going to be humble about this whole thing. And I'm just going to use my platform to keep the next generation rolling on the Raiders, man, because I'm telling you, these little kids a lot of times don't really understand the game of football, but they know what they like. You know what I mean? And if they see that guy that looks cool or whatever, and he likes the Raiders and he's cool to me, well, I'm going to like the Raiders too because my boss likes the Raiders. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to plant seeds all over, man, and keep the nation growing. And that's just my little piece to try to put my father's stamp on the Raiders, because he's dedicated his whole life till he went in the grave to the Raiders, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So when I get off this planet, somebody's gonna say, "Hey, man, that mob boss boy, he went hard for them Raiders, man." If they don't remember shit else, they gonna remember that. They gonna remember that.
That's cool, man, because I mean, I was inspired by Wayne, too, and Gorilla Rilla, too. I've met Gorilla Rilla. Every time I've met him, you know, he stopped and took pictures with me. He took pictures with me and my friends when we went to Oakland. And that same day that we went to Oakland, me and my friends, that was the first time I went to Oakland. That was last year, dude. We ran into you, and you took the time to take a picture with my daughter and, you know, sit around and chat with me. You know, and so that's awesome. And what I want to do is, with my platform, is, like you say, bring on these personalities, these people that are out there working their asses off, going to these games and making the Raider experience that much better, because you see the passion that they have, and it does inspire you. So that's real cool, man. And I do want to make sure I get as many of the diehard / superfan that I can on this channel, and because y'all have a voice and y'all have put in the work, and it's like, if I could just help spread that word, I mean, that would be awesome. And yeah, it's not for the likes or the views, but it's just, you know, I enjoy talking to Jeremy Brigham. I enjoy talking to Randy Hansen. I enjoy, you know, I've been able to talk to ex-Raider players, ex-Raider coaches, Raider superfans, Raider club presidents. I mean, it's awesome to be able to talk to these people that are good people, diehard people, and build relationships with them. Like you say, you know, when you were talking to Joker, you know, on social media before you even met him, that's the same here. I mean, that's cool, though, that you develop those kinds of relationships, and that you, through the Raiders, you can develop this amount of trust, even in a long-distance situation like, you know, social media conversation. I mean, it's awesome,
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely. There's nothing like the connections that if you really get into this Raider experience and the lifestyle, there's nothing like the connections you're going to meet, you know, across the country, man. There's in a city that I've been to where I can't call somebody and say, hey, you know, I'm in town, and they say, well, what do you need, Mom? You know, do you need me to pick you up, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I love to be able to have that, man. It's like a huge extended family. You know, I have a beautiful family of my own, but man, my Raider family is so extended across this country. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
awesome.
And I would have never known, you know, how good this thing is. And man, I talk to other, because I mean, not only I got friends who are other fans of other teams, and they admire the relationships and the connections and how big and strong the Raider Nation is. And they're, man, we don't do all of that. We don't, man, you're always taking off to go do this and be with these people all the time. And I said, man, that is my family. And, you know, when the family calls, you got to go be there. It's a family reunion, man. And no other team does that.
Right.
They don't. There's other teams that travel pretty heavy, just like the Raiders. They, like the Packers, travel pretty big. The Steelers travel pretty big. But they don't connect with each other the way that the nation connects with each other, man.
Right.
And it's like I said, every city we go to, you end up, you know, you're like, dang, man, I just seen you 2 weeks ago in another city, but everybody is trying to get there. Everybody's trying to get there. Some folks I might only see, you know, once or twice a year, but, you know, we're going to see each other through this network at some point in time, man, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And, yeah, it's valuable. You know, you value those few times that you meet in person, and yeah, you know, and you rep well, and you don't, you know, end up doing knucklehead shit like you're saying, and you
right.
you just enjoy it. You enjoy it, you know.
And like I said, man, as Viola always says, enjoy this journey, man, because it's an amazing ride. It's just an amazing ride, and I think about that all the time when I'm going to these different things, or you know, whether, you know, like not too long ago we were down in Santa Maria for the parade, and I was just like, wow, this is what he's talking about. Enjoy the journey, man, because all of these moments don't happen for everybody, you know? And so to be able to be a part of that, and it's an absolutely amazing feeling, and I appreciate everybody that supports the Mob Boss, and man, I just can't say enough about the Raider Nation as a whole, man. They're just good, genuine people all across the country, and so for you to have this platform and get to reach out to these coaches and fans and different things like that, man, super fan. Okay, I'm going to spring off a little bit on the word super fan, okay?
All right.
And you probably heard this over and over and over again, because most of the people who are labeled as super fans were super fans long before they donned a costume. They've already dedicated their time and their efforts and their resources and to the Raiders as a whole, and then they took on a persona, and then people puts this sticker on them and calls them a super fan. Well, I don't feel like I'm any more super fan than, say, my uncle, who has been, you know, holding season tickets as long since I've been a kid, you know. He don't wear a costume. You're probably not going to see him on TV, but he's been sitting in that same seat for years, you know. And he, like I said, travels across the country. He lives in Mississippi, but travels here for the games and all this kind of stuff. He's a super fan. He knows more history about the Raiders than I could ever think of in my lifetime, you know. He's a super fan. Those are the real super fans, man. These extra personas that we have taken on with the costumes and things like that is just an expression of our love and our passion. But that doesn't make any more of a fan than anybody else that dons a Raider jersey, walks into that stadium, screams loud. You know, I'm no more, and I never want anybody to think, that's why I really, when people say super fan, I say, no, don't call me that, right? Because I don't want to be put on a pedestal where I feel like I'm better, or people think that I feel like I'm better than anybody else. Because, I know kids who are, 5 years old that had come to the Raider game for their very first time, and you watch them scream and yell and see passion on their face. Those are super fans to me. Those are the real, if you're genuine to the Raiders and you're genuine and passionate about winning and supporting them even in the bad time, because I don't like fair weather fans. I will talk about your ass in a minute. Because a lot of people have, they want to wear the Raider jersey when we're doing good, and then as soon as we start falling in the dumps, you're all, you're talking negative about them, oh, F the Raiders and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I will talk about you because you're not genuine. It's like your family, right? Your family can piss you off, but they're still your family, and you're going to continue to love them, right? So even when the Raiders are losing, doing bad, you're not going to hear the mob boss say too much bad about them. I'm still going to be screaming and yelling because there's always a tomorrow. Things can always change and turn around. And as we see with all the new additions this year, some things I'm not happy with, but a lot of things look positive. There's still a tomorrow. There's still an opportunity for win. And that's all of this whole thing was built around without Davis was just win, by any means necessary. We don't have to look good doing it, just win. And so those are the super fans, people who believe like that and are passionate like that. Those are the super fans. So that's just my spiel. I mean, I know maybe some people enjoy the word or being called a super fan, maybe because they feel like that puts them, out there a little more. I really don't enjoy the word because they're super fans. We fill that stadium with 50, 60,000 people, and all of those are super fans to me, because they took their time, they took their money, and to come out there and support the Raiders and scream loud and try to help the Raiders get across that goal line and get us a win. Those are super fans, man. The mob boss is just a persona, but Kevin was a super fan long before the mob boss was even in existence. You know what I mean? I was out there doing all of these same things I was already doing, and then the persona came out and turned into the mob boss. But so more of a super fan than anybody else, man. I'm just a diehard fan. I just love the Raiders, and the mob boss is just a persona, man, for me to express how passionate I am. I don't think just as Kevin, I felt like I was putting my passion. People would see me, and people that know me and know both sides of me, they said, man, you were always a diehard Raider. I said, yeah, but there was something burning inside of me that I needed to show it more. I wanted to show it more, and then, the inspiration from my dad passing, and I was like, man, I just want to show it more. And so the persona came out. I think the persona was always burning inside of me. It just took, and maybe just took my dad's passing and my wife, Black Ice, to come up with the concept, and then it came out. But man, now the persona's out of control. Sometimes I can't control that guy.
Well, hey, just to be clear though, man, the Superfan Hotline is open to all fans of the Raider Nation, except the Fairweather fans. So
there you go.
I don't really want to put a label on anybody. It's just an expression that some people say that separate the fans that develop personas, from the other fans or whatever, But I get it, man, and that's humble, and that's the other thing about you guys that dress up. You are humble. It's like you, Jersey, and Mike. Y'all are the three that would be considered a super fan that come on the show, but y'all are all have said something, the same thing, that y'all don't really get into the super fan idea, and that's humble, man. That's awesome, dude. And yeah, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, it just is what it is, man. Like I said, there's just a lot of genuine people, man. There's a lot of genuine people out there in the Raider Nation that are really, really passionate, just as much as I'm passionate about them. And, maybe they don't get as much credit because they don't wear a costume that kind of stands them out behind anybody else. But, there's just so many folks that everywhere I am, they're right there next to me. You know what I mean? And they don't wear no costume. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of genuine people out there who really are passionate about the Raiders, and they love the Raiders. They support the Raiders, good and bad. They're not fair weather, you know. So, man, I just never have seen anything like this with any other fan base. So, man, if you're a part of this, man, embrace it, enjoy the journey, get involved, man. There's so much stuff out there to get yourself involved with when it comes to the Raider Nation and helping the community and doing all that. You can use this platform to do a lot of great things, and all in the meanwhile, you get to support a great organization like the Raiders. How blessed can that be?
Right, yeah, it's all about repping the Raiders with pride and poise and a commitment to excellence. That's how I look at it, you know. So,
Absolutely.
Now that we've just talked a little bit more about Jersey and Mike, right, I got an idea. The picture that y'all had where y'all were shoulder to shoulder at the what is it, Santa Maria parade?
Yeah, Santa Maria,
yeah, that y'all use as y'all's profile picture. To me, that gave me the idea that y'all should be called the Unholy Trinity. Is that cool with you?
I like it, man. I like it. That picture, wow. There was a young lady down there in Santa Maria that Polo had brought out to kind of document the day and the parade and so on. And I believe I want to say this young girl is maybe like 16 or so years old, but I know she's a teen. She took that photo, and honestly, it wasn't anything we posed for or anything like that. We just happened to be in the right spot at the right time, and she took an amazing photo. And after I got a chance to see the photo, I tripped off of it, because the amazing part about it was a cool picture. It was what it symbolized. And for all of us to be shoulder to shoulder,
right,
walking that way, and
unified.
Dude, it was powerful. It was a powerful photo. And those, like I said, two of my best friends, man. Two of my best friends. And so to have a photo like that with those, man, it was just an amazing shot. And then after Joker did a little edit to it, and man, it just made it even bigger.
Yeah, put the One Nation logo on it.
Yeah, man, it exactly what we believe in. We're one nation. We're shoulder to shoulder in this thing. You know, as we move forward and strive for excellence, we stand strong as fans. We stand strong shoulder to shoulder, because so many people try to divide us and separate us with the move situation, and you know, people being upset about this and this and that. And a lot of things have divided folks during all of this turmoil, I'll call it. A lot of people have been divided, but those who are standing shoulder to shoulder and standing strong, man, you can't say much more about them. That proves their dedication to what this thing is, man. And to be in that photo, shoulder to shoulder with those two people, man, just, man, amazing. Man, I don't know if it ever went viral or if it ever will, but that's a powerful statement to the Raider Nation about how strong we stand for this team, man. We stand shoulder to shoulder, and we go for it, man. We're gonna turn this thing around at some point, and I tell you what, and whenever it does turn around, those three people you see in that photo are gonna be right there, still standing shoulder to shoulder, brother.
Well, that's cool, man. I tell you what, I'd definitely buy that shirt. I'd buy that shirt.
I think I'm going to have to get in and talk to Joker and say we need to get that on the JR60 brand. We need that out back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because and like I said, man, for that young lady, oh my gosh, what she took a lot of amazing photos that day. If you go on Polo social media and things like that, and go back to Santa Maria, but she took a lot of, but that one in particular, and then after Joker did the edit to it and kind of put it out there, man, it's an amazing shot.
Oh, yeah. Hey, okay, so I've talked to you and Jersey and Mike about this. It was going to be called Tales from the Oak Town. which is going to be a docu-series, documenting what could be the final year in Oakland. So the idea behind it is that you would send me pictures and or videos of the tailgate, of what the state going into the stadium, the crowd of the stadium, maybe some pictures and whatnot of the game and the scoreboard, and then after the game, and it would just, then you would record a 20 to 30 minute call with me, and we could talk about the game and what it was like being there. And that would have been called Tales from the Oaktown. Of course, I had to re-envision it because of Raider Fan Radio's Tales from the Nation. But the idea that I have now is called Oaktown Legends. Do you think you'd be interested in something like that?
Oh man, absolutely. I kind of did something like this last year before we knew we were coming back. But yeah, man, because for those who don't get the experience to really understand what it's like, for me on a Sunday morning, up at 2:30 in the morning, packing up, trying to get out of here by 4:30 in the morning. We get to Oakland, somewhere about 5 or so in the morning, and we're standing in line from 6 in the morning till they open the gates at 8:30 or whatever it is, and then tailgating all day and going into the game. It's a lot to the experience, man, that some folks don't really understand or get to see, and because a lot of folks, maybe they just show up on game day, and come in, they don't tailgate, they don't do all of that kind of stuff, or understand what it is for a diehard fan to really have to put all of this stuff together to make everything work, because putting on a tailgate ain't the easiest event to do, and we do that every week, or every other week, when we're in town in Oakland. We're, like I said, if you ever want to come to a great tailgate, go to D-Lot, row 1. KOS is always welcome. You guys come down and we'll show you a good time, but it takes a lot to put that on every single week, and our club puts a lot of work into it. Our event coordinator, Tina Hernandez, I always got to thank my sister for putting on so much work and organizing and making sure that everything is a go. And, like I said, that's early morning, and it leads to a late night, getting us back home to the Central Valley, doing that week after week. And then the weeks that we're not basically in Oakland, if we're not on the road traveling to a game to another city, it's a lot of work to go into trying to do all of this stuff. And so for people to really get to see that side of it would be great, man, because I don't know if everybody sees all of that and they say, oh man, them fans are everywhere. Well, you don't know what it takes for all these fans to get all these different places, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah. And see, and I want to document it, man. I want, Oakland. When I went to Oakland, dude, my eyes were open. I'm not gonna lie. For a little while, I was okay with the Vegas move. I didn't really understand the Vegas, what the Raiders and what Oakland was, But then I went there and my eyes were open to the Raider mythos there, And I want to make sure that the people that haven't been there, if they don't get the chance to go there, get to see what it is in Oakland, because Oakland is badass, dude.
Yeah, man, there is nothing like the experience of going into that parking lot, man, and getting hyped up for the day, and then walking to that stadium and hearing the crowd and just see, man, it's the atmosphere, the feeling, it's undescribable. It really is undescribable.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of them things I tell people as Raider fans, even if you're across the country, make that opportunity and get there. You got to get there at least once to see this, because when we get to Vegas, you're not going to see it.
No, it's not going to be the same.
And it hurts my heart, man. It's saddening that the culture is being stripped away from the Raiders for big business.
Yeah.
I understand it is a business, it is about money and things like that, but when you abandon your culture, your existence, and man, that hurts. And I know a lot of fans across the country feel the same way, especially in the city in Oakland. They're really, really hurt by this, because you're basically taking a part of their life, you know, because people take this very, very seriously, you know, and they spend a lot of time and effort, and, you know, and this has been so much a part of their lives, as, you know, just like me as a kid growing up and into, you know, adulthood, and now me bringing my kids and my grandkids. It's so much a part of our life, and you're just taking it away, and it's hurtful. So the only way that you can kind of soothe that pain is by enjoying the experience while we got it.
Yeah.
So as long as we got them in Oakland, get yourselves out there to that Coliseum, man. Go experience the vibe. Go experience everything about it, because you're never going to see this type of atmosphere again once we move. You're not going to, you know, not to say that there's not going to be love for the Raiders, and there's not going to be Raider Nation fans still, but that experience, that vibe, that what you'll never be able to recreate anywhere else. There's something about being in that stadium, man. As run down as that stadium is, and as bad as it is, and leaking toilets and all the problems that we got in that stadium, is still home. And nobody wants to leave home, you know what I mean? We grow up and you move out of your mother and father's house, but you always go back, you know what I'm saying? So home is always home, so it's going to be difficult. And so I just tell people on this last ride of this part of the journey, try to get yourselves out there and get that vibe, feel the experience, and, you know, hey, and like I said, yeah, but I'll be more than happy to help you document the experience, because, man, it's going to be an amazing ride, and you're going to see some stuff this year, man, because what we thought was the last game in Oakland, and, man, the tears that were shed, and people just wouldn't leave that building, man. They just wouldn't leave. And, you know, it was just an awesome feeling, even though it was a saddening feeling. It was an awesome feeling to know that the Raiders and its fans love that city and love that building more than anything, man. It took them forever to get us out of there, because people were hugging and crying. And I was like, man, you know, I thought about it. I said, hey, we got to go through this. Telling my wife, I said, man, we went through all these emotions last year, and now we got to turn around and go through the same emotions. But it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great, and you're not going to want to miss being out there. You're not going to want to miss that experience. So by all means, fans, if you can get out to Oakland for one last ride, man, make it happen. And yeah, but I'll help you document it. No worries, man, because I want people to see and understand and get to feel it. If they can't get there, at least they get to see it, man, and try to say, well, wow, you know what I mean? Because this is something different. This is something different, and you can talk to fans from other teams, and they'll tell you, nah, our fan base doesn't do what you guys do. It's nothing like that. And when we go to other cities and we tailgate in parking lots, where it's majority whatever city we went to, and their fans, and they say, wow, them Raiders are something else, man. They're like, you guys travel all the way across the country and you do it like this? Yeah, man, this is what we do. And they're just amazed. Other fan bases are amazed by us. So, yeah, get out there to Oakland, man. Get out there.
Oh, yeah, I was converted, like I said, the first time I went there. And I'm going there week 1, and then I'm going there the last game versus the Jags. You know,
perfect. Perfect. And you know you got to come by and see me, man.
Yes, sir.
You got to come by D-Lot. You got to come by.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, Mark said he's gonna show me around. So I'm going to get a little escort. Hey, are you going to be in New York?
Okay, so New York. New York was not on my schedule for this year. I hadn't planned on going to New York, and then about 3 weeks ago, I get an inbox from Thanos.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, from the Core 4. And he says, Ma, you coming out to New York? And I said, well, it wasn't really planned on my schedule for this year, but what's up? And he says, look, man, I got a ticket for you. I need you to get here. So I was like, okay, I got you. Let me see if I can make it work. So I am in the plans of trying to make New York work as well. So you guys might get to see my boss on the East Coast. Thanks to Mr. Thanos, man. That's what I'm saying about this nation, man. it's hardcore, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter where people are, when he's come out here to Oakland, he always finds a way, him and the four, they always find a way to find me somewhere, you know, to give me a text or whatever, or call me, and they say, where the hell are you at? Because we're here, you know. And them brothers are just really genuine, and I really appreciate them. And, you know, like I said, I wasn't planning on New York. New York wasn't on my schedule, but just because he called and he was like, I'm going to try to help you because there's no excuse you shouldn't be here. I'm going to get this ticket for you. So, I mean, it's hard to turn down Thanos, man. I don't know if you ever...
No, you're not supposed to do that.
He's a big dude, man. He's a big dude, right? And I don't want to disappoint him, man. But no, he's a good friend. He's a real good friend. And as well as the rest of the four, man, they've always treated me real well and supported me real well. So I'm going to try to get out there to be with those brothers definitely in New York.
I woke up one morning and I'm checking Facebook and I got my notification and I saw Sarif, you know, he's on there, he's talking about, is there any podcaster that wants to interview a legit Raider fan and all this and that, and you commented on there, Raider Homer 100%, man, and that's how me and him hooked up, and he's been on the channel already, dude, so I'm excited to see the both of y'all up there, man.
Yeah, man, like we're genuine people who are out there doing the right things and doing it the right way. Because, like I said, I don't know, you know, everybody has their own reasons for why they do what they do, but you can feel the vibe from genuine folks, man, and who are doing it for what the purpose is, man. And you have been real dedicated, like I said, with this whole thing, trying to get your podcast going, man, and I'm real proud of what you're doing and the people you're coming in contact with. The other day, I got to listen to you do the interview with the coach, and I was like, man, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. Do that kind of stuff. Don't do it for publicity, man. Get the information out to the nation, what they want to hear about, what they want to discuss about. You know, not let's make this a platform for myself to become, you know, some popular Raider dude or whatever. So that's why, because the first time I think, man, you hit me up or whatever, I was like, I've seen this guy, you know, and I remember meeting you, and you told me about the podcast when you met me, and I was like, okay. But so many people contact me for stuff like this that I was like, okay, but then I started watching and seeing who you were interviewing and seeing what you were doing. I was like, okay, now this is a genuine dude. Yeah, I got to get on his platform. And you know, like I said, Michael has definitely hit me up, and Jersey has definitely hit me up, and Wayne has definitely hit me up and said, hey, man, you got to do this. This guy is genuine. He's 100. And so when, like you said, when that comment came up, and I was like, oh, yeah, I know who to tell you this guy right here, you know. So, yeah, man, I try to support those who support the right thing and believe in this nation, and they're passionate about it, and they want to get information out there to the fans and things like that, and they want to do it in the right way for the right reasons. I'm always going to support that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it, man. That's awesome that you would say such kind words about me. And you know, and I gotta say, dude, when I first realized that Wayne subscribed to my channel, man, I took a screenshot and sent it to Lucky. I sent it to everybody. I was like, oh man, the Violator subscribed. It was awesome, man.
It's amazing to have when you get those acknowledgments from those who have really put the work in and really have made an opportunity for any of us to do any of the things that we're doing. You know, those guys like Wayne and Rilla and Mark, you know, all of those folks that have already paved the way for us. Man, when you get those acknowledgments from them, it's a blessing. And every time I see Mark, Rilla, okay, so every time I see him, we always hug each other, and I always tell him, thank you, brother. And he's like, thank you, man, stop that, man, stop that. I said, no, man, because real talk, if it wasn't for you and Wayne, and don't forget Tuzak, okay? A lot of people forget, man, because Tuzak hasn't been around for a while, but Tuzak is one of the originals as well, man. And so for those, do your homework. Do your homework on your super fans, man. Mark, which is Rilla, Wayne, which is Violator, and Tuzak, man. Those guys were putting wood on the pavement a long time before anybody was doing anything. And also, you know, Oaktown Pirate, man, Ezel. Oh my gosh, I miss Ezel so much, man. He's man, I just can't say enough about him. And you know, now I have a real solid relationship with his daughter and his son-in-law. Man, I was just at their baby shower not too long ago. Man, genuine people who love the Raiders, man. So we don't want to forget those who have kind of set the way before us. And, you know, Ezel has been gone a few years now. Raiderette Gloria was another one that's passed and gone. You know, Senior is still here with us, but, you know, people sometimes forget the folks that were putting it down for so-called super fans and making a way for any of us to do what we're doing. Yeah. And that was long before social media, okay? So these guys were grassroots, man. You really had to be in Oakland. You know, you had to be in Oakland to see these guys, or, you know, or you seen them on TV or whatever the case may be. But they were grassroots. It was before there was social media where they could just put a picture out and everybody knew who they were, right? Yeah. So we gotta, that's why I always tell Mark, thank you. I always tell Violator, thank you. When I used to see Tuzak, I used to always hug him, and he kind of weirded out, like, why is this dude hugging me saying thank you? What's this all about? But, you know, it was because I wanted to pay homage to them, and Ezel, same way, you know, Senior, funniest, that dude is so freaking funny, man. It's just unbelievable. So every time I see him in D-Lot, I always make sure I have a can of beer in my pocket to refill his cup, man, because he walks around with this huge-ass cup and drinks beer all day.
Yeah, I remember meeting him in New Orleans back in 2006, I think it was, right around there.
Man, that cup is legendary, man. That cup has been everywhere, so I always try to have a beer when I know he's coming around. I'm like, man, I got to make sure his cup gets filled. So, yeah, man, these are, like, legendary people, you know, Gloria, you know, rest in peace, Gloria. You know, these are just legendary people that made the way for all of us. So, you know, when people talk about super fans, I just don't want to ever forget any of those original folks that really put it out there. Raider Jerry, for those of you that don't know, Raider Jerry retired. He decided he was not going to wear a costume probably about a year ago, and I happened to be there at the last game that he was wearing his costume because we sit in the same section, and he just cried. He said, man, I've done this for so long, you know, I think it's time for me to hang it up. But Jerry is a freaking legend. Actually, Jerry is one of the only so-called super fans that are, he's in the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
So he's really put in a lot of work over the years. So there were people long before, you know, people like the Mob Boss, because now because of social media, you might see, you know, certain people a lot more than what these guys were doing before there was anything. And people knew who they were. You know, NBC and ESPN and all these people were following these guys long before any of us were even thinking about doing it. So, you know, because I think the last thing Violet, when we were talking before, he told me he's something like 32 years of dressing up and being a Violator. So
I remember him when I was a teen.
Yeah, so you know that's a long time dedication, and Tuzak was right next to him the whole time, you know. And then later on, Rilla came in the play just after that. So those three guys, and like I said, Gloria, the Pirate. Oh my gosh, there's just so many of those guys that really set the way long before there was any type of social media to get the word out, and they were pounding the pavement and repping that silver and black a long time. So I always want to give them their props and pay them their homage. And for those of you who will be at the Raider Nation Explosion, there is going to be a special tribute to Rilla and to Violator, and also a couple of others who were trying to keep a secret, but the secret's been leaking out. So there is going to be a tribute to Pirate, Oaktown Pirate. So we just wanted to show those guys that, hey man, we appreciate what you've done for the nation. You know, and you know, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be these events. There wouldn't be any of this stuff if those guys weren't in the stands wearing those costumes, wearing that makeup, bringing attention to the nation long before, you know, these days. So So we're gonna the Raider Nation Explosion Imminent Productions is definitely gonna do a nice tribute to them. It's gonna be led off by 4Dub and Big Mac. They're gonna do their, they got a few songs out there that are in tribute to Violator and Rilla. So they're gonna do their songs, and we got some. I can't give away everything, but we got some nice things for them, just to show them that we really, really appreciate all the love that they've shown the nation. And for me personally, it was just like, man, we have to do this. We have to do this because these two guys have given me so much encouragement and so much advice, and even from a young kid, I've looked up to these guys. So, there's no way I'm going to do anything without recognizing them. And Big Tone and Pete and Mike all agreed. They said, yeah, you're absolutely right, Mom. We're gonna make sure we do it right. And I said, well, as long as we do that, everything else should go good. But we have to pay recognition to those guys who, because this is, like I said, the event is about the fans. It's really for the fans. It's about the fans. And how could we not recognize the most hardcore, popular fans there are? And that's Rilla and Violator. So we're gonna make sure we show them that respect and that love, and we're gonna give it to them big.
Yeah, much love, much respect to all of y'all. And before I let you go, dude, you have a great understanding of the history of the Raider fans. Can you help me figure out who the guy was with the safety pin through his head and the eye patch?
Oh, wow.
He was in the complete history of the Raiders video.
Man, Jesus. I want to call his name so bad. And
that guy was great. I remember seeing him on Monday Night Football. He was doing
Monday Night Football. And unfortunate, I've never met this guy face to face, and I've only seen him on TV, which is weird because I think I've ran into almost every Raider super fan across the country that I can think of, and he's one of the people I have never got to meet. And I don't know if you know who Game Face is, but Game Face is kind of an offspring of that, right?
Okay.
And so Game Face, he has the skull with the patch, and he's got like barbed wire across with a big Raider helmet on, and it's kind of an offspring of that same guy. So, and I really can't remember his name, and I don't even know if back then he even had a name. It might have just been a persona, and he might not even have a name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. But unfortunately, I've never met him in person. Yeah. But
I gotta figure that out, man.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact, man, that's a good research history project for me. Yeah, I'm gonna probably when I get off, I'm gonna probably start Googling.
I got him thinking
I might
now.
get on the phone, and I might call Wayne and be like, Wayne, hey man, you remember this guy? And Wayne will probably remember it more so than anybody, right? But I know who you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. Hey, and tell Wayne I said what's up. Hey, and tell Bear I said what's up, man. I love his show, man. He's on fire every night, man.
Yeah, Bear is the man, and I'm really happy that I got a chance to get Bear. We're brothers through KOS, and we've got a chance to really get to know each other. And then when we were looking for somebody with a big mouth and really gonna pump this thing up, man, who else could you get but the Bear, right?
He's your guy.
Oh yeah. We went and talked to Bear, and Bear was like, I'm down 100%, man. So I got mad respect and mad love for my brother Bear and Mama Bear. I love her too, man. Those are just, like I said, man, this nation has surrounded me with so many genuine people and genuine friends, and it's just an amazing thing, man. And so, yeah, big shout out to Bear. I'll probably actually be seeing him probably in the next couple of days. So, yeah, I'll definitely tell him what's up for you. And, man, yeah, Bear's good people, man, for sure.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for your time, man. I'm glad you came on the show.
Oh, man, anytime, man, anytime. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to you.
Oh, no worries.
Schedules or whatever. But, man, when we get ready to do these chronicles, you got me, man, and you got my personal number now, so even outside of the podcast thing, man, if there's anything you want to talk about or just want to say, hey, what's up, Mob? Hey, man, call me, man. Give me a holler, man. I'm here.
All right, cool.
Anytime, brother, anytime. Thank you for your time, and keep doing what you're doing on this podcast, man, and keep putting the word out about the Raiders and sharing the love with the nation. And as Violet would say, enjoy this journey, brother. Just take it for what it is, man, and keep being positive, man.
All right, cool. Raider Nation for life.
Raider Nation for life, my brother. Go Raiders all day. Just win. Just win.